All right, so 7.2 is going to be all about simplifying expressions. Before we can do that, we need to learn a few vocab words here. An expression is just we're talking about variable expressions here, so things with letters with variables in them. The parts of an expression, different parts of an expression are called terms. Terms that have identical variable parts are called like terms. So what I mean by that, if we have, let's say we have 3x and 2x, those would be considered like terms. Now we're going to kind of treat things where we have this smushed, remember we're 3 times x or 2 times x, we're going to kind of treat that like it's almost one number now. So anything with the same types of variables are considered like terms. Um, like terms are also just normal numbers. So things like uh, things like 7 and 9 are considered like terms. They both have no variables with them. Um, so those are also like terms. We are allowed to combine like terms and like terms only. We'll get to that more in a second. Another vocab word here, coefficients. Coefficients are um, the number in front of the variable. So like up above here, if we take 2x, that 2 is what's called a coefficient, number in front of the variable. So again, we're kind of treating this like it's one number now, not 2 times x, but just 2x. A constant term is just any number. It could be negative, could be positive, whatever. Okay, so some rules to follow here. So I know on your OneNote it looks a little different, so if you just want to add these to the side. We can only combine like terms. Let's add that as a rule. Only combine like terms. Only combine let's do an example of that. If you have 2x plus 3x plus 4, okay, which one of these are like terms, which one are not? Um, well, 4 has no variables. 2x and 3x both have an x variable, so we can combine them by adding the coefficients. Combine them by adding the coefficients and getting 5x plus 4, and that's as simplified as we can get them. Okay, only combine like terms. Um, Now, another example here, so you can't add this because they're not like terms, but what you can do is you can do some, you are allowed to multiply. So if I had 3, sorry about my handwriting here, times 2a, let's say, I remember squished together with parentheses means multiply. You are allowed to multiply something like a number and a variable term. You do that by just multiplying the number with the coefficient and getting 6a. The reason why you're allowed to do that is because multiplication is really just repeated addition. So I could write 3 times 2a is just 2a plus 2a plus 2a, and that's going to give me 6a. Um, so that's a couple of examples there. So all right, so we're going to kind of put this all together here and do kind of an extensive problem and write out the steps as we go along here. Um, what we want to do first is we want to, and you'll have to remember this from chapter 6, we want to turn all subtraction, I'll explain why, all subtraction into addition of a negative. And the reason we want to do this is because we want to be able to move the subtraction around. You can't, like 5 minus 2 is not the same thing as 2 minus 5. So we want to be able to change that into addition so that we have the ability to move it around easier. Okay, so I'm going to actually put step 1 into action here. So 9 plus minus, so we'll change the subtraction into plus a negative. Okay, so that's step 1. Kind of following order of operations, what you want to do first is deal with anything in the in parentheses. You want to multiply before you add. All of those things are still the same, even though we have variables. And so in this case, what we want to do is distribute. Okay, so we want to by multiplying number, it's number sign, number outside the parentheses by everything inside the parentheses. So that is what the distributive property means. So we're going to multiply negative 2 by 3g and negative 2 times 2. So let's rewrite that. Okay, so that was step 1. So 9 plus negative 2 times 3g. Again, we're just going to multiply the coefficients. Negative 2 times 3 is negative 6g, plus negative 2 times 2 is negative 4, plus 5g, plus a negative 7. Okay, so next, move like terms next to each other. Move all the like terms next to each other. So that's step 3. Get all the numbers next to each other, get all of the variables next to each other. So it doesn't really matter which way you want to go about doing that. So if we have 9 plus negative 7 plus negative 4 plus negative 6g plus 5g. Okay, so now we just combine. So step 4 is combine like terms. So 9 plus negative 7 plus negative 4. So that's going to be 2 plus a negative 4 is going to give you negative 2 there. 9 plus negative 7 is 2, plus negative 4 is negative 2, plus negative 6g plus 5g, right? Use our negative rules here still, is going to be a negative 1g. And I'm just going to put at the bottom here, make as simple as possible. So what I mean by that is we don't need to include a 1, okay? That's like, we just kind of say like, okay, we have a goat. We don't need to say 1 goat. That's the same thing. And we can also change addition of a negative back to subtraction just to kind of eliminate the clutter. So we could write this as negative 2 minus g as our final answer.